there, welcome to today's episode of Once to Watch. My name is Anan Priska, and this episode is for the animations fans. So if you have seen Kakalabanda at my homework, you have seen Kizazi Moto, Generation of Fire, and you're wondering, who are the brains behind this amazing project? Well, on today's episode, we have Raymond Malinga, who is the CEO and founder of Creatures Animation Studios. And today we sit down with him and we talk about animation and how he is navigating this space in Uganda, in Africa, and in the world today. You have done these interviews for a bit, right? Mm-hmm. When I was doing my digging, I think I saw you were like all over the place. You've done a bunch of interviews. Okay. So it's okay if I just go for the jugular, I just get in.
Okay.
Who is Raymond Malinga?
Who am I? Yeah. Very interesting.
No one likes the question.
I don't mind the question. Okay. I would refer to myself as a dreamer. That's what I would refer to myself as. I'm a strong believer in things that have not yet happening. That's who I am. I'm extremely curious, and I just love imagination. That's who I am. If I'm to summarize myself, that's it. And I make cartoons also. Yeah,
that's like the aftermath.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for.
Okay.
And it makes sense that you're a dreamer and you like to make things happen, because if you're an animator, those are sort of like the qualities that you need. You are the CEO of Creatures Animations Uganda. Can you please walk us through the journey? How did this start? How did Creatures, when was it birthed? When did this dream slowly start to become a reality?
So I've always loved writing and telling stories for as long as I can remember. And even before I knew it was a job that somebody could do. And I just remember being alone, like in my room at home, just trying to write out stuff and just try to dream up ideas and concepts. But in terms of Creatures specifically, I started Creatures in 2015 with my younger brother. We started in the garage, actually the boys' quarters. Since I'm in a Ugandan interview, I can say boys' quarters because it's relevant here. Yeah. And then we went to the garage with my younger brother, Robin Malinga. And I had gone to Malaysia, right? Yeah. Prior to that, that was like in 2010, to study animation and visual effects. And I just remember telling myself throughout that whole journey in Malaysia that I am here to learn, to take, and come back and impact the industry here. So yeah, we started Creatures Animation in 2015, and through that whole year, we were trying to do a lot of ads and stuff. But that was never the vision. The vision was to create narrative stories, to create stories that could package our culture in interesting ways. And so we set out to do a Kalabandate My Homework. Was
that your first project? Okay, like beyond the ads and what, your first real project?
Yeah, that was. And I think most people know us.
How long did it take?
Yeah, most people know us for a Kalabandate My Homework. It took 2 years to make. But what I say is that it took 2 years to form the company, to form the team. Because when we started, it was only Robin and I. And when we finished in 2017, we were 7 people. So I trained my team with everything I'd learned from university, including my brother, by the way, on a Kalabandate My Homework. So it was like a training, it was an on-the-job training exercise. And in many ways, not just only skill-wise, but also in terms of pipeline. Because the things that, I worked at an animation studio in Malaysia, but you cannot just completely transfer the methods. So you had to come here and realize, okay, that can't work here. That's not how Uganda works. That's not how Africa works. So those 2 years were to make sense of this industry and how we were going to be players in it.
Okay, and you say you started working with your brother.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because I know siblings who work together and it's just like an unending clashing of like, oh my God. Like, you know, the emotions come in because this is family at the end of the day, and business and family sometimes don't seem to connect. Yeah. Like, keep your emotions out of it. So how did you guys make it work?
So one of the things that was easy with working with my brother Robin was that him and I had always been writing stories even before we started the company. So that love for writing stories was already there. But you also have to understand he's 5 years younger than me, right? And of course, there was a lot of I would call it mentoring, right? That needed to happen. And there was also like, I would say like, we clashed so much in the beginning, but no one was ever in doubt about what we wanted to achieve.
So the vision was the same for both of you?
Exactly. So I don't really mind if arguments are going to happen in any form of, let's say, business or working relationship or anything. But if you both have the same goal, it's just about figuring out how to get there regardless of all these arguments. So right now, I would not exchange Robin for any other partner because him and I don't think we even have arguments anymore. Like it's just more of like
the pieces came together.
Yeah, it's like I think right now we spend more time just trying to figure out how do we do these things quickly and fast and effectively in the country, and that's what we care about more than anything else.
Okay, nice. Sounds like a good partner to have.
Yeah, he is.
He is. Okay. I'm sure he's watching this and he'll be like, oh,
yeah. I don't know, maybe when you interview him, he might say something else, but this is what I think.
Like, oh, he's a pain. But then you said that beyond working with your brother, you also had to build a team, and you're 7 people, I think, in total. So what was it like creating that team? And you are the CEO, so you're in a leadership position. So there's people watching this show and they're in the same position as you with like different startups and things like that. So what tips would you give them? What makes a winning team?
Yeah, so it's a simple principle that I use when I'm hiring anybody, which is, what are you good at? What aren't you good at? What would you like to do? What don't you want to do? And I apply that to myself. And by using that, I try to only hire people that complement what I can't do. So I admit, hey, if I don't know how to draw, I want to get someone who's much better than me at drawing because that makes my life easier. So I was on a hunt for people like that. And there's a difference between someone who can draw really well and someone who can draw really well but work in a team. Those are two different things,
Yes.
And I had to learn that really quickly because I'm a team player and I'm very industry focused. So I don't like working with people who don't have a big impact in mind. I have no interest in that. If you do not want to impact more people than yourself, yes, you have to impact yourself as well. You have to benefit from it. But I feel more fulfilled by seeing someone else grow. So what I did is when I went to Malaysia, I went and became a generalist. So I am very good at the pipeline. I understand how to make something, a cartoon from zero to the end. At least I know something about everything in the pipeline. And so I was able to transfer fundamental skills of how you work as a team with the skills that you have. And I only brought in people who are willing to work as a team. And some people left, some people left, and for different reasons, So I remember the first person we ever hired. He came in and he worked with us. He worked on a Calaban Date My Homework. And then I remember he was afraid to tell me that he wanted to go and study abroad. And he went to Vancouver Film School, which is one of the most prestigious schools in the world. And they had to call me for a recommendation. And I said, take him, he's brilliant. I said, take him, he's brilliant. And right now he's working at Weta Digital. And Weta Digital are the guys who do Avatar, Transformers. So
are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I love that because the thing is that I know for a fact that there are people in those companies that are watching my work, right? Because I have a very good contact over there. So I don't know. I just think it's about impact. If that's where someone needs to go, let them go. If they see that what we're doing here is worth them, then it's, I don't know. Just have to be human. There's a humanity to this,
Can you hire me?
Can you
hire me? You sound like a good boss.
You'll send your resume.
Okay. Newsflash, I can't draw for the life of me, but I can write.
Neither can I. No, actually, I'm working with that. That's a lie. I'm much better. I stop saying that. I used to not be able to draw really well, but now I'm much better at drawing. So I can draw.
Ironic. And yet you make these amazing cartoons.
Okay, we'll get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
You said you did your university in Malaysia.
Yep.
But before, through my digging, you had started university in Uganda, computer science, right? So you go there and you do so well for yourself. Was it hard to make that decision?
No.
It wasn't?
Absolutely not. And here's the thing. Every time I get this opportunity, I have to give my parents credit. Because at the time I wanted to study animation. I remember I started getting interested into in animation in my senior 4 or senior 3, around there. And of course, there were no opportunities here in Uganda to study animation. There were some schools that were popping up, but then they were not what I wanted to do. But what was very fascinating about my journey into computer science was that the only reason why I took computer science, okay, I was good at maths and I loved sciences and stuff, but the only reason why I took it is because a cousin of mine who was doing it showed me that there was an animation module in the 3rd year. And that's the only reason why I went to take computer science. So I was like, and I later found out that that module wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. But that didn't matter. When I was at computer science, when I was doing my computer science course, I loved programming. It was my favorite course, I think, because there was a bit of creativity in there. And this is a world before apps, right? And then I got the opportunity to go to Malaysia. My dad said, okay, he told me, why do you want to go? Why do you want to go? So I came back with, this is my business idea or whatever. There's opportunity with advertising.
You had it all figured out.
I was like, man, I just want to make some cartoons, man. I just want to make some cartoons. But I said that because that's the way to go there. But the thing is that I love that he did that for me, because when I went to Malaysia, I went so committed with a direction, right? I said, I'm going here. I'm traveling to Asia to come back and start a company.
So from the get-go, you knew that, you know, even if I get this amazing job or whatever, I'm still home is the goal.
Yep. It was always the plan. Actually, the anomaly was getting a job in Malaysia. I was hired before I graduated. And what was weird was like, it was a conflict. I remember talking to my parents and telling them, I don't want to stay here. I want to come back and to start my company. It's like, are you crazy? People get the chance to do it. I was like, okay, so I went and started working, and it's fine. I do not regret it. That was a wealth of knowledge and experience that I got, and they're still my friends up to today. So
so it worked out, it played out. Okay, so we talked about Kakalabanda at my homework, but you've done other projects, and the amazing project like Kikazimoto.
Kizazimoto.
Oh my God,
it's okay.
For the life of me, I can't get it right.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Generation Fire. Can I stick with that?
Yeah, because that's the translation in English, so it's okay.
Yeah, let me stick with that. So tell us about that project and what was it like? Because I know it was about like reimagining, painting a future of like futuristic Africa. What was that like? What was that experience like for you? So, and working with Disney.
So
every animator's dream.
I have to credit Akalabanda at my homework for getting me that opportunity, because when we did Akalabanda at my homework on the award circuits, things just aligned, and I was just in the right places at the right time, and an email came around because people had talked to me. They had met me around, and I was shortlisted. So there were 70 directors, 73 directors, 73 people who were shortlisted, and we went through a vigorous process of pitching, and they only narrowed it down to 14 directors and 10 films. So I represented Uganda, which is episode 1, Herder Boy, which is a futuristic look at cattle herders, and it's a reimagining of the Batwezi. And what I really love about Kizazimoto is that our brief was positive showcases of Africa in a futuristic sense, you know? Nice. And I love that, because if you brought anything that was related to HIV or malaria or whatever, Disney and Triggerfish, who are the partners on that project, were like, no, we are not doing that here. So I think Kizazimoto has done a lot to reshape the 10 films, and the 14 directors have done a good job in reshaping what an African story can be. And we're already starting to see it, because when I go on panels and you see other like younger directors and younger artists pitching now, you see a lot of them just saying really mind-blowing things. And I'm like, most of them are being inspired by Kizazimoto, which is really great.
That is great. And this is available on Disney Plus,
Yes,
right?
it's on Disney Plus, and I think there was a run on the Disney Channel. Now it's on Hulu as well.
Oh, nice.
But
Netflix?
it's on this. No, not Netflix. Different companies. Actually, am I allowed to say Netflix on this? No, I'm just joking. But anyway, so Disney Plus, Hulu. I think the run on Disney Channel has ended. But so that's it.
Okay. But so No, I don't know how many people have Disney Plus or Hulu in Uganda.
It's not available in Uganda, which is the frustrating part of it. So
Okay, this just gets more frustrating. So where does someone watch it? Or, like Creatures Animations. You guys have a lot of great content.
Don't ask me that question where people can watch it in Uganda. I think they already know.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Okay, so do you guys have a plan to have some of your content available on free to air? I say this because
Yep.
you have great stuff,
Yep.
but it's like on the internet, and
Yep.
yet there's kids who don't have access to the internet
Yep.
but can watch TV,
Yep.
and they want to, they would benefit from watching this amazing,
Yep.
content.
Yeah, so there's always a plan to do that kind of stuff. But so this is what I described. Everything that's going on right now are just symptoms of an industry in its infancy. That's what it is.
Fair enough.
And we're facing problems of pioneers. That's all it is. So everyone wants you to do everything now, right? But it's funny, before you created the cartoon, no one was thinking about taking these cartoons to the kids. But now the cartoon exists, now they want to take it to the kid. And I'm like,
Kids have to see
I'm not saying that we don't want to do it. But if there are people out there who can support us, we only have limited resources, and when we get there, we'll get there. But we can't get there now with the right strategic partners. So yes, there are intentions.
Process.
Yeah, so there are intentions to do it. And if I tell, let's say, some of my partners out there that, hey, look, there are 500 or 1,000 children here in Uganda who are dying to see this, and this is how I can make them see it, and they can see the benefit of that, they'll definitely give me
Jump
the
on.
opportunity.
Okay. So it's just a matter of time. We just have to be patient.
Yeah. No, you have to be patient, but you also
But
have
also
to be
proactive and
intentional and proactive. Yes, I would agree.
And you said you have a couple of partners who support this work that you do.
Okay. Yeah.
How does someone get partners or funding? Because so many entrepreneurs struggle with that. They're like, I have all these amazing ideas, but I have no money. How am I supposed to make this come to life?
Yeah. So just to be clear, we do fund ourselves. We do projects, and it's just about careful accounting, where you say, who do we need? When do we need them, and how much is it going to give us back? And that's what we've been doing for a while. And obviously, with the Disney project comes in, what was very unfortunate about the project was that 100 people worked on my film, right? But only 5 of my teammates worked on it, and of course there were other people on my Herder Boy project, which were like, I hired photographers, there were cultural consultants, there were obviously voice actors as well. But when I look at the 100 people, the first question I was asked by Disney and Triggerfish was, can your company do it? And I said, the reality is that we are not in position to handle this project. And I looked at it as a lost opportunity, because all those jobs would have actually come here.
Come home.
So my project was done in South Africa, and they did an excellent job, right? But looking forward, what we're trying to do is we're trying to look for strategic partners and people who are interested in making sure that the next time 100 jobs come into Uganda, they do not leave Uganda. That's it. So how do you do this? I think you have to understand the climate of your country, where it is right now, and do whatever it takes. But I think you also need to branch out and just apply for grants, apply for opportunities, talk to people. You never know who's listening, Some of the people who, like right now, we're doing a preschool show on YouTube, which is called Kunda and Friends.
Yeah, Kunda and Friends.
And we have done 17 episodes. We did 15 episodes in a calendar year. With 12 people, by the way. And they're in the UK, and they chose us as a production company for their show instead of going to India. And that's what we need to do. So we're looking to expand our company in order to expand how much we can take in, But I would say, just to answer your question directly and to be very helpful to somebody, the best way to get someone interested in you is to demonstrate what you can do. So Kalabanda Ate My Homework, we released it in 2017, and from 2017 up until today, people are still contacting us based on that project. It is the best decision I think I ever made, right? Yeah. So yeah, and now obviously Herder Boy and Kunda and Friends, but Kalabanda Ate My Homework is literally the project that built the company.
Would it be fair for me to assume that that's your favorite project you've worked on? or you could name a bunch of others that
I
you
think-
look
I
at
think-
and you're like, yes, I did that.
I think right now, the most impactful and influential one, no, not impactful, influential one has been a Calabanda at my homework.
Right.
I wouldn't say, usually my latest project is usually my most favorite
Your
one,
new-
but I think Herder Boy, because I got to play with resources that are usually not extended to me. So I'll give you an example. I remember like when I was writing the script, Disney came back and said, Raymond, you're holding back on us. You need to do more. I was like, you want me to do more?
I will do more.
I'll do more. So I came and they said, okay, calm down, okay, calm down. And like, it was really refreshing, and it unlocked that thing in me, because I know in Uganda, we have a lot of people, like when you're writing something, you write with the resources in mind, right? And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because you have street smarts, right? But now what I have is a delicate balance between the freedom to dream, but I am also aware of the resources. And that's really good, because if you want to be competitive out there, people are going crazy, you know? They're doing incredible projects. And if you're limited by your thinking, right, you will always pitch a project that is small, that is not ambitious, you know? And sometimes that's good, but a Calabanda at my homework was very ambitious. Very ambitious at the time. And I think that you have to be able to unlock that part of you, to be able to try to do something, but also be mindful. It's a delicate balance, right? But that's the only.
How do you strike it? Like, do you cultivate? How do you get yourself in that place where you strike? Right?
So here's the thing. This is what I learned. So when I came into Kizazimoto with Herder Boy, I came in the project at this level, right? I was encouraged to do it at this level.
Wow.
But when we reached production, it came down because the resources are not, we have to be realistic, right? But the thing is, the most important thing is not this fall, it's this one. The fact that I came from this level of project to this. So in everything I do these days, I write there, right? And then the resources determine what we can do. But I do not begin from, I do not minimize my dreaming. I don't. I don't. Or I try my best not to.
Not to. Yeah. Oh, that's very good. So when you're writing and when you're in that zone where you're creating, where does all this come from? Because I watched Herder Boy and it was really good. Okay, like the preview and the things I watched. It was really good, and the graphics and the what and the writing, Kakalabanda in my homework. I was like, come on, how did you create this? How did you come up with this? So I guess what I'm asking is, how do you tap into your creative bone?
I really love this question and the opportunity to answer it. And I'm going to answer it this way. I grew up watching cartoons like anime, Japanese stuff, right?
Hit pause on that.
Right?
Which ones were some of your favorite ones?
Oh, so
I was a cartoon crazy maniac.
So there are too many to mention, but my favorite anime is Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter. It's Japanese. I do love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm a big fan of that. Don't tell me top 5 because now you're confusing me. I feel like there won't be too many. But what I will say is that I'm also a big fan of film. I actually watch more live action than I do cartoons. Funny enough, because let me put it this way. If you let's say get a chair and you want to draw it, right? It's if you draw a chair, the chair that's in front of you, you get your interpretation of a chair as an artist. But if you look at a drawing of a chair of somebody else, you get a third-hand interpretation because you're seeing someone else's interpretation of the original chair. So what I love about live action is that they're human beings on set. So there's subtleties that human beings give away, the nuances to the performance that usually, if you watch a lot of the documentaries and makings of cartoon shows, a lot of those guys refer to live action, they refer to news anchors, they watch documentaries, they watch things like that. And I actually am drawn more to that. So you find me watching like a 3-hour debate about something. And then I'm just like, that's a very fascinating person. And so that person might actually make their way. They might inform like when I'm writing. And so, and now to answer your question about where does all this stuff come from, I actually love to draw from life. My favorite thing to do is conversation. I love conversation.
Okay.
I love listening to what
Nice.
people do. I love listening to their stories because I only have one life to live. And the only way to experience your life is by
through
asking you questions, right? Asking you questions and listening to your story. So I draw from life. And recently what I've been doing is that I've been intentionally listening to Ugandans, paying attention to Ugandans, paying attention to things I see around. And so when someone asks me, where did you come up with cattle
this
herders in the
language.
future? I'm like, I was looking for something that people overlook every single day. We have them in spades here in Uganda. Cows are just everywhere. You know the Ankole cow, you know that cow. It's so beautiful, right? But people are like, its purpose is for milk, bride price, or these things like that. And I'm just like, if I can get this thing that people take for granted every single day, right? And elevate it, like even like a cattle herder, then maybe I might be able to inspire someone else to say, what else is there that we've just been taking for granted? So I look for unifiers. A unifier is like, let's say everyone for some reason knows what a kalabanda is, yet no one knows what it is, you know? It's weird, right? So it's very strange, eh? And I look for opportunities like that. And I looked at a kalabanda at my homework. It's a perfect merger between a unifier of everyone knows about it from school. It's cross-generational. And a dog ate my homework, which is a universal appeal, right? And then when you fuse those two things, you get a very interesting story. But then also now with Herder Boy, cattle herders are the oldest profession, I think one of the oldest professions in the world. So everyone knows what a cattle herder is. So it doesn't matter where this film plays. Someone will be like, those guys are herding cattle. So it's a unifier. People can easily walk in and watch the film, but then you put in Ugandan elements, you know? So it's not really a formula, but it's kind of a formula, but it's how I'm thinking now. That's how
I like that. And I like that from where I stand and when I see your work, it feels like the basic stories, but there's that extra thing that you put. And for me, I like stories that are just, I like something that's plain, but like not too complex. The plot is twisting and turning, and but I think.
But I'm going to make a twisted and complex one. I hope you like it. So
I hope so. No, I think I'll like the visuals. So yeah. So you have won a bunch of stuff throughout this journey of Creatures Animations, 8 years, right? What is an award that you won that you look at and you're like, oh my God, I'm so proud of this?
So this isn't an award, but it's an achievement. So in 2018, Kalabanda Ate My Homework went to the Annecy Film Festival, which is the largest film festival in the world. And I remember one of my classmates inboxed me and told me, dude, do you remember when you were telling us you were going to win an Oscar, go to Annecy, no, not Annecy, Cannes Film Festival, Cannes Film Festival, at the Cannes Film Festival. Do you remember when you were saying that? I said, I don't remember, but that sounds like me, right? So, because I told you I'm a dreamer, I like saying things and I'm like, you have to put them out there, you know? And that was phenomenal because getting to go there, and I went with my brother, we got to see what the industry is like at that scale, you know? And we interacted with a lot of people. I remember we felt really small on the first day. Then we were like, no. And we have to do it. And but recently we did win a lot of awards. Won some awards in Nigeria. It was good to be acknowledged in Nigeria. It's one of the biggest markets in Africa. And
it's a hard one to please.
What's funny is that when we played my film, the audience thought that it was a Nigerian that had made it. And they were like, oh, Nigeria, we've gone so far. It's so good. Then they told them, and we're introducing the director from Uganda. They were like, you know, because they're very patriotic, but they loved it. And I have like very good contacts and friends in Nigeria now. Then South Africa as well. We won the Fupi Tunes Festival as well there. And those are major markets. But recently with Kizazi Moto, we won the Kids Screen Awards, which was great for the whole anthology. It was in my film. And then we were recognized and we won also at the Annies, right? So the Annies are like the Oscars for animation. And Kizazi Moto won the Best Limited Series at the Annies, so which is really great. If you asked me like 10 years ago if I would be sitting here having gone to Cannes and all this stuff, and I'll be like, probably. I hope so. Right? So it has happened now, on to the next one.
On to the next one. Nice. Yeah. So you, in all your travels, you move around and you meet so many great people. I mean, you met John Travolta.
At Cannes.
Oh, wow.
And who else? Nice. Who else do you have on your list there?
Is it Peter Ramsey?
Peter Ramsey, Oscar winner Peter Ramsey. I
Oscar
like
winner.
teasing him. I say that in full.
Every time,
I
every
say
time.
Oscar winner Peter Ramsey. No, he's an amazing guy, and he's the director and Oscar winner for Into the Spider-Verse, which is an amazing film. And we got to work with him on Kizazimoto. Phenomenal, extremely humble, and I learned so much from him. You know, I feel like the Kizazimoto films, he had a big part to play in mentoring us. You know, so yeah.
So he is, apart from Peter,
Yeah.
which other mentors do you have, like, who have shaped your journey?
Yeah, so the first company I worked at, which is Wow Animation in Malaysia, which I quit and left, right? Not because they were bad people. They
Yeah.
actually were very great, and they're still friends up to today. I talked to, you know, and this is something just tell the viewers, you know, a mentor isn't somebody you need to see every single day.
Or like sit down, gives you
no.
assignments.
Some of these
what-
people, I just talk to them like once a year, right? But that once a year for 1 hour or 30 minutes informs me for like probably 2 years or 3 years, you know? And so Usama Zaid, who is the CEO of Wow Animation in Malaysia, he's one of my, I would call him a mentor. He's a peer now, you know, but he's a mentor as well. I think Peter Ramsey as well. You can put Peter Ramsey there. And I think I'll put also the Kizazimoto directors, because those guys are just so talented, you know? Because we made our films in isolation. We didn't meet until the year that it was coming out. Not the premiere, but like we met in Los Angeles, right? Okay. And it's the first time we met. And then you're listening to these guys and they're like, they're all so amazing. What am I doing here, you know? But then everyone is like kind of feeling that.
Yeah.
And whenever I have like something I need to know about the industry, I have 13 people I can call now. So that's amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. And how do you network? Because you meet so many people and you're always interacting. And like, give our viewers some networking tips. You know, like some people struggle with that.
I'm what you refer to as a serial networker. I am. I'll say this: the worst you can lose by approaching somebody is them saying no. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it is very good for you to lead with not what you do, but to lead with what they do. I think it's very important. Like, you come and tell, if someone comes and asks me, just like we're having this interview here, right? You're curious about me.
You do.
And I'm just letting you know about my stuff, right? And it's a very good way of becoming friends with somebody, you know? I would advise somebody that if you walked up to someone during networking, be humble enough to know that you don't know something, right? And you have to be extremely humble and say, I don't know. Even if the person's talking about something that you think you know, just keep quiet and listen, because there's always that one thing in there that you might not know, because they have more experience than you. So I don't walk up to people and tell them, this is what you should be doing. Do you know who I am? No, I walk up and I say, listen, I know like you're busy and everything, but it would do me, like come on, man. Let's talk, right? Yeah. But anyway, the way I'm talking to you is the way I talk to everybody. So, I network exactly the way.
The way, like,
So I'm not.
Just be yourself.
Yeah, just be yourself. And the worst thing that they can say is no. Some people have like said, I'm busy right now, and I don't take it personally, because I also get busy sometimes, right? And I just think just walk up. It's the worst thing that can happen. No. Yeah.
That's a good one. The worst that can happen is no.
Is a no. Yeah.
And speaking of, networking and mentoring and things like that, do you have young people who are interested in animation that you mentor at it's either Creatures or just as Raymond?
So I have done that like in the past. I am a very one-on-one kind of person. I prefer to do that. I'm not a big fan of teaching huge groups. Like when it gets like 100, whatever, I'm like, I can't focus on you, right? So even with my team, my strategy has been to enrich them with as much knowledge as I can, so that they can go and enrich other people too. So that's my strategy. And I have taught at different schools. I've taught at Artfield Institute. I taught there for 2 years. I was the animation lead there. I graduated some students, but I think that my purpose in the industry is to be on the end of the value chain, which is go study
and
get hired. So I am on the end of the value chain. So I'm positioning myself to hire people and I'm trying to impact the industry, the continent, the country from that aspect. So.
Okay. And speaking of, impacting, people who watch your shows, most of the people who watch animations are kids, right? And kids are very impressionable.
Big kids and small kids. Okay,
Okay, let's talk about the small kids first.
Okay.
Then we'll make our way up.
Yeah.
The small kids are quite impressionable.
Yep.
They pick up everything and they learn a lot from animations. Do you feel an extra sort of pressure to get it right? Like, I need to do something that's very entertaining, but also very responsible. Like, do you feel that when you're working?
I think like every project you do has some sense of responsibility. Of course, you have to do something within the law, right? You're not going to do something that is not lawful. But I think the biggest sin you can make as a person who's in my industry, in the film industry, is to be boring, right?
Okay, so that's the first thing. Don't be boring.
Just don't be boring, or try not to be boring, And film is subjective, but if you can get as many people as possible to love what you're doing, then like kudos to you, So I would say, I think usually the project that I'm doing comes with its own requirements. So if I'm targeting, let's say, kindergarteners and preschoolers, there's some language you have to not put inside there. There's a way you have to present it. And if you're doing more adult work, you can have a little more freedom, but everything within the law. Okay. I have to say that because somebody might be listening and then they'll be like, Raymond said we can do anything.
We can do anything we want.
Okay.
But everything has to be within the law.
Yeah.
Speaking of the law, and you're on the telly of the taxman.
Yep.
How are we looking tax-wise? Time to run away.
Okay.
What has your experience been like trying to be tax compliant?
Yeah, I think I was eager actually to learn. I was eager because I feel like for me to be out there talking about impact, I have to have a credible business,
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was really confusing, It was very confusing because you get some emails I just remember there was an email that came in and they said, I remember the early days, we were told that we owed URA 7 million shillings. And I was like, we have never even made that amount of money. What are you guys talking about? And they were like, so we had to do some digging, learning stuff. And I was just like, why did they send out these scary emails, But I was like, I learned that they do it because like some people do not, they do not pay their taxes, do not file their returns. So they did this number for you to contact, I don't know. So like, we have been paying our taxes since 2015. We are tax compliant, but I think it is kind of, so this is my view of things, right? For an industry like mine that has the potential to impact a lot of young people, it's very frustrating when I go to South Africa, and I'm aware Uganda is a landlocked country and there are a lot of customs duties and all that stuff, but I go to other countries that have put in place policies to make sure that their film industries, their animation industries can grow. For example, for every computer we buy here, someone in South Africa or someone in America buys 2, right? So someone is growing at, sometimes even 3, right? They're growing at an accelerated rate. But I cannot compete with that person, Even if, I'm very thankful for how far we've even gotten, right now, because we're bought like 1 computer a year, 2 computers a year, because you're balancing, when you hire somebody full time, of course you have to pay all these other taxes on top of their salaries, right? Okay. And you're like, okay, for how long can we pay that person in order to buy a computer later, And it's just that balancing act. And I feel like the question I would have for like URA would be, do you want to expand the tax base or not? That's just my simple question, because the thing is that the more people I can employ, the more people I can impact, the more I can expand, the more my company can grow, the more you get taxes, right? But here you are taxing me at this scale, frustrating my growth. In 20 years, I will be the size that a company in America who started, let's say, this year would be in the next 3 years, right? If they're doing as well. And I just wonder, like, what's your vision? What is it, Do you want us to grow or not, And by we, I do not mean me only, I mean my industry and also you, That's it. Even you.
Yeah, because if you were an MP, what would you do different for the tax policy?
For my industry specifically?
Yes, of course.
I think first of all, I'm going to phrase it like this. Anyone who is in a position to make a policy that can impact my industry needs to understand the potential of my industry. So, when you look at something like Herder Boy packaged Uganda's culture, right, in a never before seen way, right?
That's true.
And it made a lot of people who are not Ugandan interested in Uganda. And someone starts asking, I've never seen cows like that. Where can I find those cows, right? It's okay. Yes, you can go and film the cows, right? The actual cows, which is what they usually do. But you have to understand that what my industry can do is that it harnesses the power of imagination. So I remember when I was I was doing an interview with a journalist, and I said, my industry is like journalism that has not been seen. You know, like for you report what has happened today, I report what is coming, right? So if I can imagine a futuristic cattle herder, if I can imagine Uganda in the future, if I can imagine, if I can harness the power of, I can even bring back, let's say, our kingdoms, you know? We lost our history, right? We have a chance to bring that stuff back. You can't film those people. You can't, right? But my industry has the potential to shape how the world views us, right? And that boosts tourism. That reduces brain drain, right? Which is very important because if the people who are talented, the people who are trying their best do not see the opportunity here, they won't come back or they will leave. So I would say that anyone who is looking at our industry needs to see the potential beyond it's just cartoons. Yeah. It's not just cartoons. Your kids grow up, they learn more words from cartoons than they do in class, funny enough. Right now, Kunda and Friends, we have a strategy to roll it out to kindergartens here in Uganda. And the kids learn songs, they learn words really fast, you know, through these songs. So the cartoons are not just cartoons, they're educational material, they're tourism tools, you know, they inspire the next engineers, they inspire the next artists, they inspire the next architects. What's interesting about the American industry is that a lot of the things that you're seeing, the touch screens and all that stuff, were written in fictional books. They were in science fiction movies, they were in cartoons, and people are like, I want to do that. So someone grows up and he says, that's my engineering task. And I think that that's the potential. So I feel like I'm not an MP, but if there's an MP listening, I would say just switch how you're looking at this and see the potential beyond just the mundane. Imagine, dream.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one.
Yes, I hope so.
Dream. Okay, so just fast forward from MP back to being Raymond. I watched a TED Talk of yours where you talked about starting out. People question whether what you're doing was going to be useful to society, right? And from our conversation, I feel like, you know, it is extremely useful. But do you feel that you have sort of like, I'm looking for a word that's camera friendly. You have put the naysayers you've put them to rest, like sort of like do you feel like what you've done has been useful to society?
Yeah, I feel like I get what you're saying, and I remember that talk was quite interesting because
it was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. And the packaging of that talk was mostly for, of course, the animation industry, but it was also for anyone out there who has very unconventional.
Wants to swim against the tide.
Yeah, the things that don't make sense in the country right now, you know. And I know there are people out there who feel that way. Funny enough, like a lot of people resonated to that talk. Were not only animators, there were other people who were like, yeah, I'm trying to do this thing, you know, but people don't. I'm trying to be a DJ. Now DJs are cool, right? Yeah. But before they weren't cool, you know. So have I put the naysayers to rest? I think this is a journey, right? And I'm not that's not really my goal, right? My goal is to impact people. I care more about someone saying, I found my purpose. I found my purpose, you know? What you said made me be braver to do this, you know? And if the next generation of people are braver to take the country to the next level, that's what I care about, you know? But just to answer your question directly, it has been quite interesting to watch a lot of people when I was pitching a Kalabanda at my homework. Because by the way, every single project you see me doing always starts by being pitched to a Ugandan who always says no. Always, right? So then you hear someone coming back and telling you, why didn't you do that thing here? I'm like, well, I came to you, if you remember, and you did this. But so I wouldn't say that I put the naysayers to rest, but I feel like there's been a lot of recognition and people are starting to notice that there might be something there. They don't exactly understand it. There's some sensitization that needs to happen, but that's why this conversation is important.
Oh, okay. So what does the future look like for Creatures and for Raymond?
Yeah, so of course I want to expand the company. I want to impact more people. And I, hopefully, you know, fingers crossed. And I think the future for me is, can we leverage our own intellectual property, our own IPs, so that we don't have to keep on handing them over to foreign companies? Because the truth is that the value of imagination is in intellectual property. If you can monetize the IP, you can get a lot out of it, as not only as an individual, not only as a company, but as a country as well. And this goes back to the tax-based thing. I feel like if we keep on exporting we export so many things, you know, right? But now we're starting to export our talent and our imagination. It's such a shame, you know? Let's leverage it, you know? Leverage it, that the only people who know how to make a Ugandan film are here. And people who are like, man, you know how we look for Japanese anime? We look for it. People say, man, I really want to watch something Ugandan. And in order for them to come and watch it, they have to come to Ugandans to make it. And that's what I envision. So we need to leverage our IP. That's it.
So until then, would you say, do we make money in this industry as Raymond?
What?
Like, do you earn from this?
Yeah, so we started. It's way better than it was in 2015. I think that it could be much better. But as I said, we're battling with policies, right, that are not favorable to us. So even if you make money, by the time it reaches your bank account, is it really money, you know? And I think a lot of Ugandans do still, and even my teammates, I'll just bundle it up as the informal sector. That's what I would say. So people are doing a side gig there to just kind of like balance some of the, to make things work. But I am actively making sure that, because I have no interest in hiring somebody and in the future, they're still, when they have children and everything, they're still trying to survive, you know? I want to have a meaningful industry. And I'm willing to work with anyone who is interested in doing that. If you're industry focused, let's talk. If you're not industry focused, please stay away. Just don't bother. Just don't bother.
Don't cross paths.
Just don't bother, because I'm not going to listen. I'm just going to be like, ooh, okay. No. It's just that. That's it. Because it's going to waste time. Honestly, it's just going to waste time. Like, what's the point? You know? And I know some people are going to look at, oh, you did something with Disney. Next time you do it, let's even tax you more. That's the wrong idea. That's the wrong idea. There are things called rebates in different countries. Like, let's say if Namibia, South Africa. Why do they keep on going to these countries? I think Kenya now has a rebate policy whereby if a company from abroad comes and works there and shoots their film there, they actually get a percentage of the money they like back, right? And why would they come to Uganda to film when Kenya is right there? You saw Queen of Katwe, they went and filmed a large section of it in South Africa. Why, right? And the policymakers, maybe they know it, maybe they don't know it, but the truth is that this is going to keep on happening. And it is only hindering the expansion of the tax base, because the expansion of the tax base and the development of the country. I can only do so much.
Like we are on worst enemies. Thank you, Raymond, for being so open and sharing really openly, because it's only from hearing from people like you who are in the sector that things get better. So it is a process. Just like you say, the industry is still young and the policy is also catching up. But it could...
Faster.
Okay.
Thank you, by the way.
Last
Thank
one.
you. Thank
Last
last
one.
question. Okay.
Yeah. So to our viewers, to that entrepreneur watching right now, what would you tell them? You know, what's like your final, your parting shots? Your keep this in mind.
So, some people have called what I'm about to say irresponsible, because I'm in Uganda and there's some. I have to be a bit grounded with the fact that there's some realities in Uganda. So I will say that first, right? But our studio's mantra internally is the audacity to dream. That is our mantra. So I would extend that to anyone else who's watching, that sometimes in order to dream, you just have to have the audacity to do it. You just have to go when no one else is going. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Raymond. It's been great having you on. The audacity to dream is something that's going to stick with me for a while, and I hope it sticks with you at home watching. And make sure, just go for your dream. Just do it. Just jump in the water and swim.
Be responsible.
You will
but
swim.
dream.
You'll be okay. Okay, thank you. Until next time, bye-bye.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.